My friend Colvin Underwood joining us here in studio on Travis Thomas Experience, taking your phone calls 800-636-1067. So as I set up when Colvin was here, I've known him forever. I worked for him. I always make a distinction. You know, I've noticed in our business, so I'll look at like our relationship is where someone will bring someone in or kind of be, you know, someone will be under someone's tutelage, if you will, right? And they'll come up, like you said, times change, people evolve, things happen. That's a good thing. So they'll come up, maybe they'll be equal peers at that point, and people will always say, oh, yeah, I worked with so-and-so. I worked alongside so-and-so. No, keep it real. You worked for someone.
Absolutely.
And then you came up, which is fine. So right now in this market, I'm doing wonderful. I recognize that. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. I'm fortunate. But make no mistake, my boy Colvin, I worked for Colvin. I said to you earlier, off mic, I said, I'm part of your coaching tree.
And that's crazy.
And you have thousands of kids that have come up in this business that have gone on to do a lot of things.
See a lot of things coming up in the business, and we've just been so blessed to be in Washington, D.C., in a major market. Now, when I came up, when there were like covered wagons and tumbleweeds and stuff, you know what you had to do to get into the D.C. market? You had to pay dues. And when I mean pay dues, you went to a small market and you worked in the small market for years. You built your craft. You got your knowledge base together. And then you were able to make a leap into a New York, a Philly, a Chicago, a D.C. That's the way it was. It is not like that anymore. Only takes one person or a group of people to say, hey, I like you. I'm going to put you on. And you don't have to, you know, beat the small markets anymore. You know, you can come out of school and work in a major market. And that's what's really changed about our business. It's really changed a lot about our business. It's just so wide open now.
Well, now you're in position to do something about it yourself with DMVSports1.com. Tell the people.
DMVSports1.com is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I believe in local sports. I believe in hyper-local sports. That's the one thing I learned at News Channel 8. We were local. I can't tell you one reason that I know everybody is because I was everywhere. High school baseball, college basketball, all the everything that I could take a camera to when I was cutting my teeth at News Channel 8, I did. And so I got to meet so many people and just know how important local sports is to our communities. That's why I'm so big on high school sports and so big on high school basketball and football and stuff, because we see the Jonathan Allens, we see the Joe Haydens and people of that nature that we saw in high school. I saw Kevin Durant at Montrose, right? So, you know, you take that love that I have for local sports, and I want to share that. And I made DMV Sports 1 as a way to kind of get back into the game. When my son was born 5 years ago, I told my wife, I'm going to be home. I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad, because when I worked at NBC Sports Washington and Comcast Sportsnet and News Channel 8, I was never home. And my daughter's 13 years old, and I didn't see any of her growing up the first 5 to 7 years of her life. And so time is the most important thing that we have, y'all. It's the most important thing that we have that we can't get back. And so I couldn't get that time back with my daughter, but I told my wife, I said, if we ever have another child, that I'm going to stay home. Lo and behold, I said, how did we get another child? How did that happen?
I know how.
I know how too, but I was like, wow, really? So that was a blessing in itself. And so that changed everything, Travis. I had I got off the 4 to 12 merry-go-round, and I was out of the business. And now when you're out of the business at a certain age, it's really hard to get back in.
Sure.
It's really hard to get back in. But one thing, like I said, progression and change, now I don't have to really get back in the business. I went to New York. I got my own camera. I got my own microphone. I got my own editing equipment. I can do everything I used to do at CSN and NBC Sports Washington at home. Well, why can't I just go out and start doing games again? I mean, I have a pretty good connections in the business here. Why can't I just start going out? So when the Caps went to the Stanley Cup,
you interviewed me.
I interviewed you on my cell phone.
Yeah.
On my cell phone. And I scraped together some money and got a little video camera that I could use because I know what to do. You know, I've been in the business for 1,000 years. I know how to make a story. And so I just started covering the Stanley Cup like a fan would cover it, but with a reporter's eye,
Right.
or a sports broadcaster's eye. And so I parlayed that into DMV Sports 1. I don't know anything about doing a website, but I found out. And I just kind of made an opportunity for myself. But one thing I learned, Travis, when we get back to time, I really didn't have time to put in the kind of work that the website required.
Right.
So think about it. You got to get up, get credentialed to go someplace, get there, come back home, and put it together. Well, heck, that's just like working another 9 to 5 again.
Yeah.
And now I have a grandmother that lives with me who's 96 years old, so I'm a caregiver.
That's a blessing.
It is a blessing because she raised me, so I'm able to help her out at this time of her life. I have my 2 kids, and I have my wife who's holding down the fort, right? She's making sure everything is happening the way it's supposed to be happening. So I got a lot of things on my plate. And so the hardest thing I think sometimes for us to do is ask for help or to look to seek help. So I met a person that we know very well, Monica McNutt.
Yep.
Former Georgetown basketball standout who's really blowing up in the business and
She's
really
awesome.
doing great things. And so I was trying to get Monica to work with me on the website, but quite frankly, I had to pay Monica. And Monica's to the point now where she gets paid for what she does.
Sure.
Right? She's not doing any kind of charity and thing, which I respect. So, but Monica said, I have a friend of mine who just graduated from school, from college, who wants to get into the business. I'm like, hey, that sounds great. So I met fabulous young lady named Takira Carter, and Ty used to play basketball here in the D.C. area, and she's got a master's degree from Sacred Heart University.
Wow.
So I'm like, why do you want to be TV for? Be a lawyer, be a doctor or something. She goes, no, I really want to be a reporter. So I said, well, look, I'll make a deal with you. I'll do your camera work, and I'll produce, and I'll edit for you, and you just be my reporter. And she's like, great. And that's what we started doing. So now I had somebody that I didn't have to front all the pieces and things. I had somebody who was a go-getter that wanted to do it.
Wow.
And so the trade-off is that now she has something that she can put on her resume reel that she can go out and get a job with. But more importantly, she can show that she's in the business. She works for DMVSports1.com, and there's no gap year. There's no gap in her experience that she can take people and say, hey, I'm still in the business. So now the site has evolved, and I'm looking for postgraduates in the D.C. area who are communication majors or TV majors who want to do sports or maybe hadn't done sports before, and maybe we can work something out where I can share my experience as somebody who's been in this business for a while, knows how to cover a team, give pointers and things of that nature to help a person along, or at least help a person decide if that's really what I want to do. Do I really want to pursue this? Well, now you have an avenue and an outlet to do that in DMVSports1.com.
As someone who's learned from you, I'm really a walking testimonial to the kind of knowledge and wisdom you can gain from working with Colvin, who is someone who's been in the business a long time and who has done everything. So make sure you go check out DMVSports1.com. And quite frankly, if you love good content, you want to go check that website out as well. Jack and Manassas, we're going to take your call when we come back. Travis Thomas Experience, 106.7 The Fan.